в бюрото на Константин Вълков. Много се радвам днес директно от Рияд да сме с господин Файсал Абас. It is a privilege to be joined today by one of the most influential voices in the Middle East, in the Middle Eastern media, Mr. Faisal Abbas, as the editor-in-chief of Arab News. Mr. Abbas has spent the last decade at the epicenter of the kingdom's transformation. Under his leadership, Arab News has evolved into a global platform. I'm visiting it daily and providing a vital bridge between the Gulf and the international community, which is very important. And beyond his role in the newsroom, Mr. Abbas is a renowned commentator, and he's somehow uniquely positioned to help us navigate the complexities of 2026, from the shifting alliances within the GCC, the UAE's recent exit from OPEC, to the intensifying media challenges. So, Mr. Abbas, it is a real pleasure to reconnect after our great time together at Delphi Forum. So thank you so much for being here.
It's a pleasure being with you, and thank you for having me. And I hope I can help navigate these very complicated times we're going through.
Любим модел на поколение от 1972 до днес. Произведен в Япония, новият Honda Civic, пълен хибрид с 184 конски сили е тук. С топ оборудване, безопасност от Honda Sensing, върхова хибридна ефективност и изключително пътно поведение. Може да е твой от 299 евро на месец. Тествай при най-близкия дилър на Honda. Honda – силата на мечтите.
I'm sure. So let's start. Recent reports indicate Saudi Arabia has moved from defensive postures to direct, unpublicized strikes on Iranian soil. Is this the end of strategic patience and the beginning of a new Saudi military doctrine? What do you think?
I don't think so. It's not. If you go back and look at the original statement that came out in the beginning of the war, published by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Saudi Arabia, it did say very clearly that we retain all options are at the table, and that we retain the right to deter aggression. This was in the very early days of the war. So Saudi Arabia has not changed its doctrine. Our preference, as it has always been, and as a peace-loving nation, is to find a way forward without having to resort to violence or war or aggression. However, we are perfectly capable of defending ourselves, as we have proven throughout the war, us and our Gulf partners and brothers. The fact that there is a statement that says that Saudi Arabia retaliated does not surprise me, but I have to emphasize that this has yet to be confirmed officially by a Saudi source. It has not been confirmed yet.
Yes, correct. But how much of this new strategy is in a way born out of necessity to prove that Riyadh can and will defend itself alone?
Look, we don't really need to prove anything to anybody. Saudi Arabia ranks number 10 in the world in firepower, in military might. So, you know, all the training, military spending, the development, the buying of weapons, developing weapons inside the kingdom, that is all there, locked and loaded and ready. But the best wars are won without fighting. So we will continue to insist to try to find a negotiated solution due to the conviction that this is the best possible outcome, because it's the only outcome that gives you a guaranteed solution or a guaranteed outcome, as opposed to starting a war which we are not afraid to wage, but will have bigger risks than the alternative.
The UAE's exit from OPEC this month is in a way a historic shift. Do you view this as a purely economic move or a formal declaration of strategic independence from Saudi leadership?
Well, look, we have to look at the context of this thing. I think there's too much ado about nothing here. There's so much speculation in the media, in the UAE media and international media. Look, OPEC, if you want, you can define it as a coalition of the willing of oil-producing countries that want to work together to stabilize the energy market. It is not compulsory to become a member or to stay a member. And just to show you how insignificant this move is, Qatar left in 2019. We still have very good relationships with Qatar. Indonesia left and came back twice. So the United States was never a member of OPEC. That does not impact our relationship with it, and it's not a declaration of anything apart from a country that's prioritizing its own interests. And here, it's also important to note how much damage has been inflicted on the UAE economy. And I say this with a lot of pain because they are our neighbors and our brothers, and we don't wish to see this upon them. But they produce 4 million barrels a day, which have been blocked due to Iranian aggression and the closing of the Strait of Hormuz. So their main source of income, they're no longer to monetize. They rely heavily on tourism. That has been
yes.
Severely damaged. And like all the Gulf countries, including Saudi Arabia, the UAE has to be given credit for prioritizing the citizens, the lives of the citizens and residents, and sparing no expense in firing millions of dollars worth of missiles to intercept $20,000 drones. All of that is in the calculation. So this means that when they think about the post-war economy, they have to make decisions that will help them recoup some of the money and erase some of the losses. When they leave OPEC, they can increase their capacity from 4 million to 5 million barrels a day, which will make a significant increase of income for them. Of course, that is assuming Iran does not attack the port of Fujairah and also opens the Strait of Hormuz, which we all hope for the sake of the whole humanity that it is open, because what Iran is doing now is it's taking the world energy market hostage.
So what is the short answer to the question, are we entering an era where the biggest threat to Gulf stability is no longer security, but an internal energy price war?
There is no internal price war at the moment. There is no production is not at its maximum. This is a conversation we can have hopefully when the war is over and we see how things aligned. At the moment, there's huge instability in the market. The world is lucky that Saudi Arabia 40 years ago figured out a contingency plan called the East-West Pipeline, which shifts the production of oil from the East Coast to the West Coast, and we can export up to 70% of our capacity. So that's around 70 million barrels a day.
Yes, sorry to disturb you. How quickly can Saudi Arabia realistically pivot its entire export economy to the Red Sea and to the East-West Pipeline without the cooperation of its neighbors?
We don't need the cooperation of our neighbors. This is an internal project used for our own oil production. As I was saying, you can move the 70% of our production from the East Coast to the West Coast. That's around 7 million barrels a day. I believe we are exporting around 5 million barrels now, plus a day, which, considering all things considered, is a very good outcome compared to the huge damage if Saudi Arabia would have went offline completely. I believe there are talks now with fellow GCC countries to figure out ways where they can also benefit from similar ideas like the East-West Pipeline, certainly not just in oil, but also in logistics. We've seen cooperation when the war started by Saudi Arabia opening pop-up airports for Bahrain and Kuwait, where they moved their fleet and they moved their flights to fly from within Saudi Arabia, and Saudi Arabia organized buses for and transport for passengers so that they are not interrupted and they can use Saudi airspace. So cooperation is happening in every possible way. And the East-West pipeline, while it's not perfect, but it was a lifesaver for the global economy.
I have the following question. I'm reading Arab news, and it is providing the necessary nuance that international investors, viewers are looking for during a crisis. But in a time of a regional war, how do you keep Arab news from becoming a wartime paper while still addressing the very real things that are happening in Saudi Arabia?
Well, I mean, first of all, we are a wartime paper. There is no escaping covering the war. And, it's not something that we would have liked to. Nobody would have liked to happen the war. But since the 9th of Ramadan, since the war started, we have been focused completely on covering the human losses, the economic losses, the courageous work that the armed forces are doing to protect our citizens and residents, and the diplomatic efforts that Saudi Arabia spearheaded and delegated Pakistan to do. This has been our daily agenda for the past few months. And again, I wish that this wasn't the case, but we have to be the bearers of bad news. And, the only thing I can say is we hope to come out of this stronger and more resilient.
And finally, what is your number one news for today? I'm reading that this is the visit of Trump to China.
I think it's the number one story around the world, in most countries around the world, for understandable reasons. These are two giant countries, and if they get to agree, then a lot of problems will be solved. And if they don't agree, then unfortunately we'll be seeing more friction in the world. So I am hoping for the first option, not the second.
And a real local news that is number one in Saudi Arabia.
So there's. I don't know whether it's significant for the audience, but we had a historic football match yesterday between the two big teams, Al Hilal and Al Nasr, and it was a nail-biting, very intense football match up to the last 20 seconds, and everybody's talking about it today.
Yes,
you watched
great.
it.
I watched it. Yes.
Yeah, it was a dramatic match, but the mere fact that we can go to the stadium and enjoy watching it is a testimony to the courageous and hard work done by our armed services, to which I salute them and thank them for all the efforts that they are doing.
Mr. Abbas, thank you for joining me in the Bureau of Konstantin Vълkov. Hope to see you soon on Riyadh, and it is the same time zone here, so have a great evening. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.